1:27, Tuesday, September 1st. We are only 63 days from the most important election of our lives, and I count that down every day. Let me add a new number. That number is 141. What is that? That's how many days until Donald Trump is evicted from the White House. Picture it. I hope it brings you joy. We have the power is in our hands to do that. We are going to do that. We have no choice. Donald Trump is continuing, and he started last night, again, defending criminals who commit acts of violence that help Donald Trump stay in power. And there have been people in the past who've thrown the word fascist around with Donald Trump. I've not been one of those people. It's only the last few days, literally since about Thursday, I began talking about that in an academic sense, as experts use it, not as pundits throw it around or people on Twitter just tweet it out there. Donald Trump has now entered the world of fascism. And we saw it last night. It happened during my show, actually, when he was on his press conference. And he did two things. One, he defended the 17-year-old shooter in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He refused to denounce it. He talked about people coming after him. Just to be clear, the 17-year-old, I don't want to say his full name, committed a crime by just carrying a gun. He was under 21. In Wisconsin, you can't. In fact, he's charged with first-degree murder and illegal possession of a firearm. So right there, he was a criminal, so Trump was defending him on that. Secondly, he defended his supporters who went to Portland over the weekend and drove around in a caravan and shot people with paintballs and pepper spray. And when Donald Trump was asked about it at the press conference yesterday, his exact words were, it was a peaceful protest. And he adds, paint is not bullets. Donald Trump's idea of a peaceful protest are people in cars and pickup trucks draped with Trump flags shooting projectiles at people. Let's be very clear. That is a crime. I tell you that as a lawyer. You can Google countless people in this country arrested for shooting paintballs at people. It is a crime. It can blind people. Or worse, it is dangerous. It can be considered charging you with an assault with a deadly weapon involving the pepper spray. Trump knows that. He doesn't care. These are people committing crimes for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's idea of law and order is if you do anything in furtherance of him staying in power, you're fine. There's the exception to law and order. I mean, look at Donald Trump today. He's in Kenosha, where Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back by the police. And is Trump there to talk about racial justice or Black Lives Matter? No. He is there today to praise the police. That's not spin. That's not an exaggeration. He literally said that he is there to thank the police for doing a great job in dealing with the riots. The same police who shot Jacob Blake in the back 7 times. And, when Donald Trump embraces violence and encourages violence, that needs to be a wake-up call for all who are not part of the Trump cult. Because they want this. Let's not play games. If you're not speaking out about Donald Trump now, you're on board with the white supremacy, you're on board with the sexism, you're on board with his inciting violence. And there's been, and I want to read, so when people get the sense of the academic definition as experts have used fascism. Madeleine Albright, and I mentioned this yesterday, but it so needs repeating. She said fascism is not an ideology. It's not. It's not an ideology. It's not communism or socialism where you can define it in terms of policies or form of government. It's not that. Fascism, as Albright says very clearly, is a process for taking and holding power. And then, and she wrote a book called Fascism, A Warning. And this was years ago. She wrote this. She talks about what differentiates fascism from other ideological movements is the use of violence to achieve political goals. And hammering home, this was an interview in early 2019, she said something that sums up Trump today. She said fascism involves the endorsement of violence to achieve political goals and stay in power. That is Donald Trump. Donald Trump, in the past, has pitted Americans against each other. He's encouraged anger. But let's be blunt, other right-wing politicians have done the same. It's only with him veering into inciting violence and defending violence that helps him politically, in my view, as he checked all the boxes of fascism. authoritarian expert Ruth Ben-Ghiat emailed me today. We had an email exchange, and I asked her about what she saw. She said very point blank, Donald Trump's goal between now and November is to make the U.S. erupt into true chaos so that he and his Attorney General William Barr can justify the authoritarian crackdown they dream of. That it might seem like a dark picture of what they're after. If you do not get yourself ready for that, it will be stunning when it happens. It's going to be shocking. But by being aware of it, I think, and readying yourself for where we're going, it might make it a little less painful. And Donald Trump is very clear. If you support him and you commit acts of violence, he will defend you. Now, he cannot pardon people for state crimes. We know that. Only federal crimes. So these Trump supporters going out there committing crimes for Donald Trump are going to be charged, like they are Kyle, the 17-year-old who shot people. None of the people in Portland were charged because they were coming through, but you can watch the video online. They were in the pickup trucks, Trump flags everywhere, shooting indiscriminately at Black Lives Matter protesters who were on the sidewalk. Shooting projectiles. That's assault. Now, they should be charged, and they weren't. Now, this is not happenstance when I say Donald Trump, nor is it speculation that I say Donald Trump wants more violence because he thinks it helps him. Kellyanne Conway said that very thing on Thursday. She talked about on Fox News to a Trump audience that the more violence, the more chaos, the more it helps the candidate who's all about law and order. And just so it's clear, it wasn't a mistake, because Jared Kushner told Politico last Thursday that polls show now, thanks to the violence after George Floyd was killed, they think Minnesota might be in play and they might be able to win the state. The more violence, the more Trump believes it helps him. So that's why it's not a coincidence that 2 days after Kellyanne Conway's on Fox News saying the more violence, the more it helps Trump, his swath of supporters went into Portland and began assaulting people with paintballs and pepper spray. If you're a Trump supporter and you really want to help your beloved Donald Trump because you believe in his agenda of white supremacy, male supremacy, Christian supremacy, what are you going to do now? Well, you might not have the money to help him. Can't give $1 million to a super PAC, but you can go out and do what they asked you to do. You can commit acts of violence that cause more chaos, that helps Donald Trump, makes Donald Trump be the savior in his view of what's going on. But the reality is, Joe Biden will not use the word fascism to describe Donald Trump. And I understand it, because it probably would sound like a mirror of the baseless claim that Trump attacks him with socialism. But I wish he would call it out, because it's a warning to people, because Joe Biden's not the type of person who would say terms like that. And it might make some people pause and go like, what is going on here? Or at the very least, it can make people aware of the violence we're going to expect to see the next 63 days. Let's be clear, in 2016, Donald Trump literally called for violence. Literally. We all know the expression. We said, if you see someone getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them. Would you seriously? He said, I promise I will pay the legal fees. During a rally in November 2015 in Birmingham, a Black Lives Matter protester was heckling him. And Trump said, get that guy the hell out of here. And his supporters beat that man up. The very next day, Donald Trump was on Fox News. They asked him about this supporter being roughed up, was the term. And Donald Trump said, you know what? Maybe he deserved to be roughed up. That was what Trump was saying in 2016. Now, in office, he's doubling and tripling down on that. Literally in the White House last night, he defended criminals committing acts of violence because he believes it helps him stay in power. That is fascism, period. It's no exaggeration. It's not overheated rhetoric. It's not punditry. It is the truth. This is where we are. And I'll tell you, Joe Biden called out Donald Trump for this very thing yesterday, and I'm so glad. He didn't use the word fascism, but he called it all out. Joe Biden says this election is for the soul of the nation. The soul of the nation. I think it's bigger than that, to be honest. Donald Trump wins and can appoint like-minded people to the Supreme Court who embrace a fascist leader. Donald Trump doesn't leave. He's president for life. I know you might say that's impossible. No, everything we've seen Donald Trump do is impossible, and he's made it possible. I would tell you, this election, it's not just the soul. What's at stake is our democracy, our civil liberties, our freedoms, and to be blunt, for some people, our lives. Those are the stakes in this election. It is up to us. So on my show tonight, I have Kathleen Unger from Vote Riot to talk about how to make sure you can vote with voter ID laws and other obstacles that the Republicans have put in place for years. Also, Malcolm Nance and Elie Mystal are going to join me. So again, my show is live 6 to 9 p.m. on SiriusXM channel 127. I'm glad you turned into my opening of what I believe is the headline of the day. It's time the media start using the term fascism to describe Donald Trump because it is accurate. Thanks for watching.